The Zorvok Admiral stood motionless on the command bridge, his 6 crimson eyes fixed on the holographic display. Before him it showed a curious transmission intercepted from the far edges of the Orion Arm. A human child no older than 10 years sat in a dimly lit room surrounded by strange objects and flashing lights. The Admiral's mandibles twitched in amusement at the sight. The child was engrossed in what appeared to be a primitive Starship simulator. His small fingers danced across a glowing console as pixelated ships clashed on his screen. At first, the Admiral dismissed it as another example of human triviality, but then something changed. The boy executed a maneuver that made the Admiral's second heart shudder. Without hesitation, the child spun his simulated vessel into a precise corkscrew weave, dodging an array of virtual missiles before accelerating into an impossible turn. It was not the maneuver itself that troubled the Admiral, it was the perfect unpredictability of it. His own elite war captains, trained for decades, could not replicate such a move. The Admiral's interest sharpened as he leaned closer, instructing his intelligence officers to deepen their analysis. The hologram shifted, showing an overlay of the child's actions against real Zorvok tactical patterns. And that was when the true horror began. The child was not simply playing a game. The tactical movements mirrored live incidents at the edge of Zorvok space. For 3 cycles now, Zorvok's scout ships had been vanishing without a trace. Each disappearance left only fragments of data behind, garbled but consistent ghost signals. The Admiral had believed it to be the work of rogue pirates or human mercenaries. But now he knew better. The signals matched the exact maneuvers the child was performing in his simulation. Each twist, each ambush, each strike. It was as if the child unknowingly controlled a phantom vessel lurking on the borders of their empire, and every time he played, more Zorvok ships fell. The Admiral's claws tightened against the polished metal of his command console. His species was built on precision and logic. But this human child's tactics were anything but logical. His movements defied prediction. His strikes were spontaneous, like bursts of chaos given form, and yet somehow they were devastatingly effective. He watched as the boy casually laughed, while executing a series of dazzling feints that sent his enemies spiraling into destruction. In the game, but across the galaxy, a real Zorvok patrol had just vanished under eerily identical circumstances. The Admiral's intelligence chief trembled as he delivered the next report. The child's simulator was directly linked to a human experimental defense grid. Earth had discovered a way to weaponize remote neural interfaces, using their youth's quick reflexes and boundless imagination to control autonomous warships stationed deep in uncharted sectors. The Admiral's stomach coiled with a sensation he had not felt in over a century. Fear. This was not a game, it was a battlefield, and the most dangerous human commanders were not seasoned officers. They were children playing in their bedrooms, unaware that their actions were rewriting the balance of power across the galaxy. The boy leaned back in his chair, stretching before diving back into the game, a grin on his face. As he commanded his vessel through a new simulation, the Admiral realized with growing dread that to this human child, it was all just fun. But for the Zorvok Empire, it was the beginning of a nightmare that no fleet, no strategy, no technology could contain. The Zorvok Admiral's voice rumbled through the command bridge as he ordered his intelligence officers to penetrate the human data stream. His 6 crimson eyes burned with urgency. The child's game was no mere entertainment. It was a weapon disguised as play, and every second the boy remained connected meant more of his ships could be lost. The Admiral's technicians worked feverishly, their claws tapping against holographic controls as they unraveled the transmission's encryption layer by layer. What they discovered next sent a ripple of unease through the entire crew. The child's console was directly linked to a classified human military network, one the Zorvok had believed to be inactive for years. This was no ordinary game, it was a live interface connected to a real autonomous warship hidden at the edge of Zorvok space, and every command the child issued, every playful decision he made translated into real attacks, real maneuvers, and real destruction. The Admiral's breath grew heavy as he reviewed the evidence. His ships had not been falling to random malfunctions or pirate raids, they were being hunted by an unseen predator, controlled by an oblivious human child sitting comfortably in his home thousands of light years away. The Admiral's intelligence chief reported another alarming discovery. The human vessel responding to the child's gameplay was not just any warship, it was an experimental Predator-class dread hunter equipped with prototype quantum weaponry and advanced stealth capabilities, a ship built for one purpose: to ambush and destroy enemy fleets with ruthless efficiency. Somehow the humans had fused this devastating technology with an innocent interface, turning the chaos and creativity of a child's mind into the ultimate tactical engine. The Admiral clenched his mandibles as the implications became clear. The Zorvok battle doctrine was built on precision, on cold logic. But these humans had forged a new kind of warfare, one that no algorithm could predict or counter. A tremor ran through the command bridge as a proximity alarm blared. Another Zorvok scout ship had vanished. The child had just reached a new level in his game, triggering a cascade of advanced maneuvers that translated into a real-world ambush. Within seconds, the hidden human warship unleashed a barrage of quantum lances, slicing the scout ship into fragments before it could send a distress signal to the Admiral. This was not mere coincidence. This was deliberate, and the worst part was the child had no idea what he was doing to him. It was all just part of the game. The Admiral's frustration grew into fury as he watched the child smile innocently on the screen. He refused to believe that an empire as advanced as the Zorvok could be brought to its knees by the idle hands of a human juvenile. But the data did not lie. 3 more vessels had gone dark in the past cycle, and the rate of destruction was accelerating. If the child continued to play at this pace, the entire Zorvok forward fleet could be decimated in less than a standard week. The Admiral issued an immediate directive: launch a stealth probe to Earth. He needed to understand this child, this weapon, and how humanity had created such an unpredictable threat. Because if they did not stop the boy, soon the Zorvok Empire would face a kind of warfare it had never prepared for, and nothing in their vast armada could stand against it. The Zorvok Admiral stood rigid on the command bridge as the stealth probe approached Earth, its black hull invisible to human senses. His 6 crimson eyes burned with anticipation as he awaited a full analysis of the child, the ship, the interface, everything about this new human threat. He had faced countless enemies across the galaxy, but never had he encountered anything like this: an untrained human child commanding a warship with the precision of a seasoned battle master and the chaos of a mind no algorithm could predict. If humanity had more of these child commanders, the Zorvok Empire faced extinction. The probe pierced the planet's atmosphere, drifting silently above the child's home as its scanners activated deep within the suburban dwelling. The boy played on, unaware that every movement, every decision was being studied by one of the most feared commanders in the galaxy. The Admiral's mandibles tightened as the probe transmitted new data to the bridge. The child was controlling a Predator-class dread hunter remotely through an advanced neural relay system. The system adapted in real time to the boy's imagination, converting his unpredictable strategies into lethal actions in space. The sheer brilliance of the design filled the Admiral with both awe and dread. As the child laughed and leaned closer to his screen, he issued a new command. His fingers moved with blinding speed. The Zorvok probe detected an immediate ripple through subspace, and the Admiral's claws twitched in horror as a hidden human warship decloaked near the Zorvok border. It was the same Predator-class vessel the Admiral had feared, and the child was guiding it like a toy. Within seconds, the ship launched a wave of gravitic torpedoes, tearing through another Zorvok patrol. The Admiral's officers flinched as their displays filled with debris and fading life signals. Another ship gone without warning, without mercy. The Admiral's mind raced. No Zorvok captain could react to these unpredictable human tactics because they defied logic. No computer could anticipate the wild improvisation of a child playing for amusement. And yet each playful choice, each casual decision was a death sentence for his fleet. The Zorvok Empire had spent centuries perfecting rigid strategic doctrines, but this child embodied chaos, and chaos was proving unstoppable. The Admiral's voice dropped to a deadly whisper as he ordered the probe to deepen its scan. He needed to know how many more children like this one existed, because if Earth was training an entire generation of these unpredictable warriors, the Zorvok Empire was already doomed. A shudder passed through the command bridge as another alert flashed across the holographic display. The child had reached a new level in his game, but to the Admiral, it was far more than a game. The boy had just unlocked a new array of weapons systems, including a quantum disruption cannon. No species in the galaxy had successfully weaponized quantum disruption, but the humans had done it, and they had placed it in the hands of a child. The Admiral's claws curled into fists as he realized the truth. The humans had not only embraced chaos, they had weaponized it. As the child unleashed the quantum cannon on a Zorvok strike cruiser, the ship imploded in a burst of radiant energy. The Admiral felt a chill unlike anything he had known in centuries. If the humans could train even one more child like this, the Zorvok Empire's days were numbered. The boy, still laughing, still unaware of the chaos he was causing, reached for a snack, or the Predator-class warship he controlled vanished back into the void, leaving only wreckage and terror in its wake. The Zorvok Admiral stood motionless as the command bridge buzzed with alarmed voices. His 6 crimson eyes stayed locked on the probe's transmission. The human child was still playing, still smiling, still treating galactic warfare like a harmless game. But the devastation was anything but harmless. The quantum disruption cannon had reduced one of his most advanced strike cruisers to nothing but drifting atoms. And the Admiral knew the worst part: the boy was getting better, faster, more dangerous with every passing moment. The probe hovered silently above the child's home, its scanners digging deeper into Earth's neural interface network. The data it revealed sent a cold wave of fear through the Admiral's core. The child was not a singular anomaly. He was part of a vast human program, an entire generation being trained to control remote warships through advanced simulations. To the humans, it was just a game, but every virtual battle, every playful decision shaped real-world tactics, and the Zorvok Empire was bleeding under the weight of these untraceable, invisible attacks. The Admiral's claws flexed as he leaned forward, watching the child's every move. The boy launched his virtual starship into a spiraling dive, performing a maneuver so chaotic it defied all known Zorvok tactics. Yet the simulation translated that movement into the real-world Predator-class vessel near the Zorvok border. The child's play caused the warship to appear without warning in the middle of a Zorvok supply convoy. Within seconds, precision rail bursts lanced through the convoy, tearing apart 3 more vessels before they could even react. Across the bridge, the Admiral's officers recoiled in stunned silence. He could no longer deny the truth. The humans had achieved something no empire had ever dared to attempt. They had combined the creativity and unpredictability of their youngest minds with the deadliest machines ever created. While the Zorvok relied on rigid patterns and calculated strategy, the humans had thrown out the rules. They had embraced chaos, and in doing so they had created an unstoppable force. The Admiral's voice rumbled low and dangerous as he issued a new command: prepare an extraction team. He would no longer simply observe. He needed to capture the child, to understand how these humans wielded such power, and to find a way to stop it before his empire crumbled. But even as his officers moved to obey, the probe picked up something else, something even more disturbing. The child's neural interface was evolving, adapting with every new battle. As the boy pushed further into the simulation, his reflexes became faster, his tactics more unpredictable. His ability to control the Predator-class warship with terrifying precision had already surpassed anything the Zorvok Empire could match. The Admiral's mandibles tightened as he realized the implications. If the humans continued this program for even one more solar cycle, their entire species would become an unstoppable armada piloted by minds no logic-based species could ever counter. The boy leaned back in his chair, stretching briefly before diving back into the game, his face alight with joy as he unlocked yet another advanced weapon. The probe's sensors flared as the Predator-class warship in real space executed a warp flux maneuver, facing through Zorvok defenses and destroying an orbital command station. Before vanishing again, the Admiral clenched his fists. His empire was facing annihilation, and the weapon of their destruction was nothing more than a human child playing a game. The Zorvok Admiral stood in cold silence as the command bridge trembled under another wave of emergency alerts. His elite strike fleets were falling one by one, and the source of their destruction remained the same: a human child playing a game with the power to destroy an empire. The Predator-class warship under the boy's control had just obliterated an orbital command station and vanished without a trace. Not even the Zorvok's most advanced tracking technology could follow its movements. The Admiral's crimson eyes burned with fury and fear as he watched the child smile, still oblivious to the chaos he was unleashing across the galaxy. The probe continued to scan the boy's home, its sensors picking up deeper layers of data that revealed an even more terrifying truth. The child's neural interface was not just adapting, it was learning and enhancing itself in real time. Every battle, every maneuver, every victory made the child's reactions sharper and faster. The warship itself had evolved, gaining new capabilities based on the child's imagination, abilities no conventional fleet could predict or counter. The Admiral knew that if the child's progression continued unchecked, the Zorvok Empire would be defenseless against the next wave of human attacks. His intelligence chief's voice trembled as he delivered the next report. The child had just unlocked a new combat module within the simulation, something called a quantum shadow array. The Admiral's claws dug into the armrest of his command chair as he recognized the implications. If the child activated that system, the Predator-class vessel would become completely undetectable, able to strike from anywhere at any time, and nothing in the Zorvok arsenal could stop it. Not even their most advanced war algorithms could predict the actions of a mind as chaotic and unpredictable as a human child's imagination. As the boy leaned forward, his fingers moved with blinding speed. The Predator-class vessel responded instantly, emerging from subspace in the heart of a Zorvok logistics hub. The Admiral's officers gasped in horror as the child deployed the quantum shadow array, causing the warship to flicker in and out of reality. With every pulse, it destroyed another Zorvok transport, severing vital supply lines that held the Empire's forward fleets together. The Admiral knew they were running out of time. If the child remained in control for much longer, the Zorvok Empire would collapse without ever firing a shot in return. Desperation clawed at his mind as he activated the extraction team's beacon. Their stealth ship was already approaching Earth under orders to capture the child at any cost. But even as the team neared their target, the Admiral realized the danger was worse than he had feared. The probe's latest scans revealed that hundreds of similar neural interfaces were active across the planet, each one connected to a different Predator-class vessel. The child was not an isolated threat. He was part of a vast hidden armada controlled by human children across Earth. The Admiral's breath came heavy and slow as he finally understood the full horror of what humanity had done. They had weaponized the one thing no alien empire could replicate or defend against: imagination. While the Zorvok relied on rigid training and logic, the humans had turned their youth into the most unpredictable and devastating tactical minds in the galaxy. And there was no way to stop them. As long as those children kept playing their innocent little games, the Zorvok Empire would bleed until nothing remained. The Zorvok Admiral's claws trembled against the cold metal of his command chair as the reality of the situation sank deeper into his mind. The humans had not only outmaneuvered the Zorvok Empire, they had rewritten the rules of warfare, and now their most dangerous weapons were not battle-hardened soldiers or advanced machines, but children sitting in their homes laughing as they unknowingly tore through his fleets. The latest probe report confirmed his worst fear: the Predator-class warship under the boy's control was no longer operating on standard protocols. It had adapted to the child's imagination, becoming faster, more elusive, and equipped with weapons no Zorvok engineer had ever conceived. On the holographic display, the Predator-class vessel phased back into real space, this time emerging directly above a Zorvok military command nexus, a critical hub coordinating defense efforts along the Empire's outer borders. The boy leaned closer to his screen, his face glowing with excitement as he activated the newly unlocked quantum shadow array. The ship flickered like a ghost, dodging the Nexus's automated defenses with impossible precision. No Zorvok captain could react in time as the vessel unleashed a cascade of gravitic imploders, tearing through the station's core. In a matter of seconds, the command Nexus shattered into 1,000 burning fragments, leaving the Empire's outer territories exposed and vulnerable. The Admiral's voice dropped to a cold snarl as he demanded a status update from the extraction team. Their stealth ship had arrived in Earth's atmosphere, hovering mere kilometers above the child's home. But the team's commander reported complications. The child's neural interface was shielded by quantum encryption. Unlike anything the Zorvok had encountered, any attempt to sever the connection could trigger a failsafe that would permanently bind the Predator-class warship to the boy's control. The Admiral's mandibles twitched in frustration. He had underestimated humanity's ingenuity. Once he would not do so again. He turned his focus back to the holographic display, where the Predator-class vessel had disappeared once more. His intelligence chief's voice trembled as he relayed the latest findings. The humans had established a distributed warfare network, linking thousands of their most creative young minds to automated warships scattered across uncharted space. No two human operators thought alike. No pattern existed for the Zorvok to predict or counter. And every time one of their children advanced to a new level, their warships evolved, becoming faster, stronger, and more lethal. The Zorvok battle algorithms, designed to counter the most advanced alien threats in the galaxy, were helpless against the chaos of human imagination. A chill ran through the command bridge as another alert flashed across the Admiral's display. The child had reached a new tier in his game, unlocking a weapon designated as a reality spike. The probe's analysis revealed that the spike could rupture local spacetime itself, causing targeted areas to collapse into singularities. The Zorvok had considered such technology impossible, yet a human child was about to wield it like a toy. The Admiral's voice turned to steel as he issued a final command to the extraction team: bring me that child, no matter the cost. As the stealth ship descended toward the child's home, the Admiral allowed himself a brief moment of hope. If they could capture the boy, if they could unravel the secrets of human imagination, perhaps the Zorvok Empire could survive. But even as he clung to that thought, the Predator-class vessel reappeared, this time directly above a Zorvok shipyard, the largest in the Empire. And with a single playful command from an innocent child, the warship fired its reality spike and tore a hole through everything the Zorvok had built. The Zorvok Admiral felt a cold weight settle in his chest as the holographic display showed the aftermath of the Predator-class vessel's attack. Where once the largest Zorvok shipyard had stood, there was now only a gaping void. The reality spike had ruptured spacetime itself, consuming the entire installation along with hundreds of newly constructed warships. The Admiral's claws dug into the armrests of his command chair as the implications became clear. The humans were no longer simply attacking strategic targets. They were dismantling the Zorvok war machine piece by piece, and the child at the center of it all still believed he was playing a harmless game. The extraction team's captain reported, in his voice tight with tension, their stealth ship had landed near the child's home, but they were encountering resistance, not from human soldiers, but from the child's neural interface itself. Every time they tried to sever the connection, the system generated adaptive countermeasures, disrupting their equipment and sending false signals back to the Zorvok fleet. The child's mind was so entangled with the Predator-class vessel that any attempt to interfere only strengthened the bond. The Admiral's mandibles clicked with frustration. The humans had turned their children into living weapons, and now those weapons were beyond anyone's control. On the holographic display, the Predator-class warship flickered back into real space, its sleek black hull shimmering with residual energy. From the reality spike, the child tilted his head curiously as he navigated through his next mission prompt, completely unaware that every playful decision he made was shaping the fate of an entire empire. The Admiral's crimson eyes narrowed as he watched the boy execute a new maneuver, one that should have been impossible. The Predator-class vessel split into 3 shimmering copies, each one undetectable by conventional sensors. The probe confirmed that these were not mere illusions, but fully functional quantum echoes capable of independent attack. The Zorvok intelligence chief's voice shook as he reported the consequences. 3 separate Zorvok border outposts had just gone dark. Simultaneously, the child had unknowingly coordinated a synchronized strike across light years of space, and not a single officer had seen it coming. The Admiral knew then that they had crossed a line no amount of tactical brilliance or technological superiority could overcome the raw, unpredictable power of human imagination. While the Zorvok relied on logic and order, the humans had given chaos free rein, and chaos was winning. Desperation clawed at the Admiral's mind as he issued a final command to the extraction team: abandon all subtlety, capture the child by force if necessary, but do not let him reach the next level. If he unlocks another advanced system, the Zorvok Empire will fall. The captain acknowledged the order and the team moved in. But even as they did, the child's laughter echoed faintly through the probe's audio feed. He had just completed another objective, and the system rewarded him with yet another upgrade. The Admiral's vision blurred with rage and helplessness as the Predator-class vessel activated its newest feature, a reality-fold array capable of bending physical space to its will. The boy giggled as he experimented with the controls, sending the warship dancing across the battlefield, facing in and out of existence as Zorvok forces scrambled uselessly to respond within seconds. Another fleet vanished, reduced to debris and shadow. The Admiral's claws trembled as he realized the truth. It was no longer a question of whether the Zorvok Empire would fall. It was only a question of how quickly the child would destroy them all. The Zorvok Admiral's breath came slow and heavy as he watched the Predator-class warship slip through the remains of his shattered fleet. The reality-fold array allowed the vessel to move in ways no Zorvok mind could comprehend. One moment, it was a shadow on the edge of space. The next, it was inside the heart of a battle station, tearing through its core with effortless precision. The child, still laughing, still oblivious to the destruction he was causing, had reached yet another level in his game. And with each new achievement, the warship grew more powerful, more unpredictable, and more unstoppable. The extraction team's captain spoke again, his voice strained. We have breached the child's home, but something is wrong. The neural interface is defending itself with force field projections and quantum feedback loops. We cannot reach the subject. Every attempt to disable the system results in escalating countermeasures. The Admiral's claws curled into fists. The humans had not only created weapons out of their children, they had made those weapons impossible to disarm. If they could not sever the child's connection soon, there would be nothing left of the Zorvok Empire to save. On the command bridge, the holographic display flared with new alerts. The Predator-class vessel had reached the Zorvok core systems, the very heart of the Empire, where their most advanced shipyards and research facilities were hidden from the rest of the galaxy. No foreign enemy had ever breached these inner defenses. But this was not an ordinary enemy. This was a child whose imagination had become a force of nature. The Admiral's mandibles trembled as he realized that the boy was no longer following the gang's objectives. He was exploring, pushing the boundaries of what his ship could do, and every new discovery was a death sentence for the Empire. The intelligence chief's voice cracked with fear as he delivered the latest report. The child had just unlocked something called a reality shatter bomb, a weapon capable of fracturing entire star systems. The probe's analysis showed that even a single detonation could destabilize a Zorvok homeworld sun, triggering a supernova that would annihilate everything in the system. The Admiral's heart pounded in his chest. The humans had handed a godlike weapon to a child who thought he was simply playing for points, and now the entire Empire stood on the edge of extinction. Desperation surged through the Admiral as he barked a new order: shut down the probe. If the child detects it, he might realize that his actions are real. If he understands the truth, he could become even more dangerous. But even as his officers rushed to comply, the Predator-class vessel phased directly into the Zorvok Central Command Hub, the most heavily fortified structure in the Empire. The boy giggled as he activated the reality shatter bomb. His fingers danced across the controls as if he was simply chasing a high score. The Admiral's vision blurred as the bomb began to charge. The energy readings spiked beyond anything their sensors could contain. The extraction team's captain shouted in panic, "We cannot reach him. The interface will not release him. The system has fully integrated with his mind. If we try to pull him out now, we risk killing the subject or worse, accelerating the detonation." The Admiral knew they had failed. The child was beyond their reach. And now nothing could stop the weapon from activating. Nothing could save the Zorvok Empire from the chaos they had unleashed. The Zorvok Admiral stood frozen as the countdown for the reality-shatter bomb ticked towards zero. His entire command bridge trembled under the weight of what was about to happen. The Predator-class warship hung in the void above the Zorvok central command hub, its sleek black hull glowing with impossible energy. The child's laughter still echoed faintly through the probe's audio feed to him. It was still just a game, but the Admiral knew the truth. When the bomb detonated, it would rip through the Zorvok home system, collapsing stars, shattering planets, and erasing everything the Empire had built across millennia. The extraction team's captain spoke, his voice tight with panic. "We cannot break through the defenses. The neural interface is rewriting itself faster than we can counter it. The child's mind is completely fused with the system. If we try to force him out, it could trigger the bomb immediately." The Admiral's mandibles clenched in frustration. The humans had crafted a weapon more terrifying than anything the galaxy had ever seen, and they had hidden it behind the innocence of their young. Now, that weapon was seconds away from destroying everything he had sworn to protect. Desperation twisted through him as he scanned the probe's feed. The child leaned forward, his eyes wide with excitement as he unlocked the final objective. His fingers moved in a blur across the controls, completely unaware that with each command he was bringing the Zorvok Empire closer to extinction. The Predator-class warship flickered as it prepared to deliver the bomb. The energy levels surged beyond anything their instruments could register. Reality itself trembled under the strain, and still the child played on, believing he was chasing nothing more than another high score. The Admiral's claws dug into his armrests as he issued his final order: override the extraction protocols, reroute all power to the disruption field. If we cannot capture the child, we must sever the connection by force. His officers hesitated, knowing the risk. If they failed, the bomb could detonate instantly. But they had no other choice. A fate of their entire species hung in the balance. The Admiral's voice hardened. Do it now, before it is too late. Energy surged through the extraction ship's systems as the disruption field activated, targeting the child's neural interface. The probe's feed crackled with interference as the field struck the connection. For a breathless moment, nothing happened. And then the child flinched, his laughter faded, replaced by a confused frown as the game's interface glitched around him. The Predator-class warship faltered, its energy signature flickering wildly as the reality-shatter bomb's countdown froze at 3 seconds. The Admiral's breath caught as he realized the disruption field was working. The connection was breaking. The child's grip on the warship was slipping. But just as hope surged through him, the probe detected it's something else. The neural interface was adapting again, evolving in response to the disruption. Instead of severing the link, the system was rewriting itself, faster, stronger, more resilient. If they failed to break the connection within seconds, the interface would become completely unstoppable. In a final act of desperation, the Admiral pushed the disruption field beyond its safety limits. The energy pulse rippled through the child's connection, severing it in a blinding flash. The Predator-class warship shuddered and then collapsed in on itself, the reality-shatter bomb dissipating into nothingness. The Zorvok central hub stood intact against all odds. The Empire had survived by the narrowest of margins, but the Admiral knew the truth. This was only the beginning. The humans had already created one child who could destroy an empire, and there would be more.